What's up guys, welcome back to a new video. Before we get started, I just want to say sorry if I'm feeling a bit ill. Sorry if I sound a bit ill. Not feeling the best, but we're still going to get uploads for you guys. In today's video we're doing the top 3 attackers and defenders in Rainbow Six Siege for Year 7 Season 4. So let's get into this. The things we're going to be looking at today is 1. How to use the operator, 2. When to use the operator, and 3. The go-to loadout for that operator. Make sure you're subscribed. There's only 2% of the people that watch my video are actually subscribed. So let's start with attackers. Coming number 1, we got Osa. The go-to loadout for Osa is the PDW with 1.5, flash hider and vertical grip. Her secondary should be using the PMM with muzzle brake and the impact EMP grenade as your lethal. You should be mainly looking at using Osa when either you're going for a main breach or you're going to be pushing as a team. Main breach, as you have the impact EMPs, and as Thatcher's pretty much useless as these impact EMPs can now be used instead of him, she's a great alternative. And pushing as a team, as you have her shields, so you can use cover for the team, and overall her weapons and all that are very good just for working as a team. And finally we're going to be looking at how to use Osa. So situation 1 is when you're actually going for a main wall. Your job is to obviously throw your EMPs at the wall and make sure your hard breach, Ace, Thermite, Habana, gets that wall. So you should throw one EMP at the start and then halfway while it starts igniting, throw another one to disable it again. Then as the walls blind up, you need to place some shields outside the wall to make sure people have cover to peek and things like that. Situation 2 is when you're pushing as a team. You gotta make sure just to place down your shields on doorways, on angles, so your team have places to peek, and you should just overall be staying alive, picking up your shields when your team move and placing them back down in better spots. For the second attacker, we're going to be looking at Ace, as he pretty much works in par with Osa. So starting off for always, we're going to look at the loadout first. You're going to want to use his AK-12 with the 1.5 scope, flash hider and the vertical grip. For his secondary, you're obviously going to want to use the P9, and I like to use the suppressor. And then for his gadget, I like to use the Claymore. Using the Claymore basically allows you to stop runouts, and you can play on your own and push on your own, and you don't need a team with you at all times. So next we're going to be looking at when to use Ace, and the obvious first situation is obviously when there's a main wall, such as clubhouse, chalet or something like that, when there's a constant main wall. But Ace can also be used for some soft walls. He's good just to get any wall, any path you need to clear, but you mainly want to choose Ace over any other hard breacher when there's a main wall you need to get that you don't really want to get to. So a bit like on Chalet top floor, that main wall by half wall, you don't really want to be going there with Thermite because you can easily be shot. Where with Ace you can still stand out the balcony and just throw from outside. So that's mainly when you want to use Ace over any other hard breacher. And finally for Ace, we're going to be looking at how to use Ace. He's a pretty simple one. Obviously just throw your Ace charges at a wall, but you're going to want to put them at about just above the middle of the wall. This allows you to vault in. You don't want to make them too high because then you can't really vault in, and you don't want to make them too low because you don't want to have to crouch in. So I think just putting them just above the middle is perfect because then you can just vault in. You want to use your claymores just for common runouts on that site. And yeah, that's basically how you use Ace. You just play time, play slow, and mainly go for a plant. Coming in at number 3 for attackers, we have Nomad. Now moving on to a loadout. For a primary, you're going to want to use the 2 times suppressor and vertical grip, her signature pistol, and I like to use stun grenades. So now I'm going to go on when to play Nomad. I'd say always want a Nomad in your team, especially if you're pushing as a team. You're going to use this to get rid of flanks, to cut off angles, just everything. Nomad is basically just an extra person on the team because she can hold angles. She's better than any drones can ever do, anything like that. She's just amazing as her gadget. And finally we're going on how to play Nomad. It's pretty self-explanatory, but on just any flanks, any doorways, anything like that you can't get someone to always hold, you're just basically gonna put an air jab there. If you're going for a plant, I'd say put one on the diffuser and one on the entrances for people to swing you and things like that. Just angles. It just slows them down. It gives you intel and basic things like that. So for our first honourable mention is Iana. The reason she is an honourable mention is purely because she's not great as a team and she's only really good as solo queue. And there's a lot of better operators out there if you're playing as a team. So that is why she's an honourable mention. But anyway, here's the loadout I would use. So starting off with Iana's primary, I used the G36C with the 1.5 scope, suppressor and vertical grip. I used her secondary with a muzzle brake and obviously used grenades. Honourable mention number 2 would have to be Maverick. The reason he's an honourable mention is only because he's good on certain maps. He's a great operator, and honestly I would love to have him in this list, but he's honestly just not my top 3. He would be my top 5, only because he's just not good on every maps. But again, as always, here's a loadout. So starting off his primary, I'd use the M4 with suppressor 1.5 and vertical grip. His secondary 1911 with a muzzle brake, and obviously use stun grenades. Claymores are a good choice, but I prefer stun grenades as I like to frag out. So now I'm moving on to defenders. We'll be looking at the exact same 3 categories. So number 1, we have Goyo. Goyo's a good pick at all his canisters, deny 20 seconds of time individually. His Vector having a 1.5 makes him one of the best guns in the game, and honestly he's just a great character. So for Goyo's primary, I like to use the Vector with a 1.5 flash hide and vertical grip. His P229 with muzzle brake, and obviously use the nitro cell. This perfect combination for me, and this honestly what I think you should use. So moving on when to use Goyo, in my opinion he's good on every site and can be used wherever, but if you're looking for the perfect site, mainly one with a lot of doors and one with a main wall, as then they can blow that up. But honestly, one anywhere, any site can be used with Goyo, and he's just perfect for everywhere. And lastly for Goyo, we're going to use how to use Goyo. So honestly you have 4 canisters. I'd put 1 on a main wall if there is one, 2 on a door, and then 3 on a line of sight by a door that you can pop if someone enters or just delay time. You need to put them on places where people are going to push late, or if someone's going to try rush, as these stay for 20 seconds, you need to quite slow them down. Our second defender is going to be Mute, as he has a good set of weapons. The shotgun used for rotates, SMG-11 is a good SMG. He has a nitro cell, which is amazing, and obviously his ability is really good. So moving on to Mute's loadout, I like to use a shotgun with a scope. The scope adds extra range and obviously no laser. For the SMG-11, I like to use compensator, holloway and vertical grip, and obviously a nitro cell as his lethal. This is perfect combo, and I think you should use it. Moving on when to use Mute. Mute again is another one that's good for every site, but I'd mainly use if you're going to have a lot of people in sight. This allows to hold wall with Mute. You can stop drones getting in. You can stop the main wall getting blown by jamming their stuff. So if a lot of people are in sight, it's good, but if you're going to have a lot of roamers, he's not so good. You want to try on a site with a lot of drone holes or a lot of different angles that they're going to have to drone out. And Mute is good just to cut off angles. For how to use Mute, I'd honestly put 1 on a main wall, and then the other 2 on doors, and then your final one just on an angle someone will be holding. This could be a 90 angle or something like that, something just to stop drones getting in. So our third and final defender is Wamai. Wamai is good as an alternative to Jaeger. His things can actually be used multiple times. He can throw them anywhere, and honestly he's just a great op. He's got the better gun. He can throw them through the round, and then they defend more. They're not just used once. So that's why I think Wamai is a better Jaeger, and that's why I think you should pick him over Jaeger. For Wamai's primary, I like to use the AUG A2 with holloway and flash hider. The AUG is one of the best defender guns at the moment, as it is also on attack, and it should always be used as a team, as it is so strong. For Wamai's secondary, I like to use the Keratos with the suppressor. The Keratos is one of the best pistols in the moment. It's so strong. Can be used for destructive purposes and just for killing people. So yeah, that's why it's one of the best pistols at the moment. And finally for Wamai, I like to use the impact grenade just to make rotates, peaks and everything like that. The proximity mine's also a good pick, but always just pick personal preference. Coming on when to use Wamai, again, like all these defenders on the list, Wamai is good on every site. Any site that people are going to throw things in, like yings, smokes, nades, Wamai is a great pick. And honestly, you can just pick him on any map, any site. He is great. Any site you pick Jaeger, pick Wamai over Jaeger. He's a better pick. Coming on over to how to use Wamai. Whenever someone is going to throw something in, you basically want to drag it away from where they're going to throw it. So if they're going to throw a nade in to get rid of bandits on the wall, make it so it drags that nade away from the bandits. So put it a bit away, but in reach, so it can grab it and then pull it away. Through the round, you're not going to be able to do this as much, but just put it in places where people are going to try throw stuff, such as fuse. If they know they're going to run a fuse, put it on the roof, and then it might catch a fuse and then hit fuse from a below. Thank you all for watching this video. Sorry I've not been feeling the greatest, that's my voice been going in a few of the voiceovers, but I hope to see you in the next video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on what videos you want me to do in the future. Thank you all, bye.